Hello everybody and welcome back to another Dark and Darker video. Today we have on Charismatic Performance, Wanderer's Luck, Lore Mastery, and Storyteller. I also have on Music Memory 2 and Music Memory 1. And here is the spell order. You can see the order at the bottom, and after I do the +3 all song Rousing Rhythms, that gives me access to Unchained Harmony. And if I find any knowledge items, that will give me Song of Shadow. I am doing this from a brand new character, and we're going to see how quickly I can get rich. So first off, always do Rousing Rhythms, and then I can do Beats of Alacrity here. And then what I can also do is after Rousing Rhythms is about to run out, right before it's about to run out, I can do it again. Because it gives me +3 all, that would give me more spell potency, and that would be the most effective way to use it. I've also seen some people that say that you should just do it again immediately afterwards. That doesn't make much sense because that would be a little bit inefficient in terms of how much time you are playing the songs for. And you can see now that the Rousing Rhythms is much less time than it used to be. None of the time numbers that are given on the actual songs themselves in the list are accurate, which is really annoying. They keep changing them and forgetting to change them on what the spell actually does. So no one really knows what the numbers are unless they've gone to the wiki and figured it out themselves. Whatever number it says there is not correct. Now, the reason why Bard is a character you would really want to do this on is twofold. First off, Bard is really quick. If you do this Aria of Alacrity song, then you will move very quickly and be able to get away from many opponents. We also have on the perk Lore Mastery, which increases our interaction speed by 25%. So we just interact with everything 25% faster. That isn't just your physical things, that's also your magical things. So you have a really quick interaction speed. On top of that, you do quite a bit of damage per second against PvE with Shriek of Weakness. And over there, I see a cleric. I'm like, nope, that probably means there's a 2-man over there. I don't want the smoke. I just want some gold for High Roller. And then the other reason why you would want to play Bard is because of this Wanderer's Luck perk. The Wanderer's Luck perk is insanely good. And I saw a comment earlier today when I was browsing the Reddit forums that the Wanderer's Luck perk is twice as good as the large luck pot. That is not true. The luck potions have a little bit of RNG involved as well, but the average roll of a big luck potion is 100. And so that costs 150 gold to get this same thing per run. And you might have seen my screen bug out super bad there. What's happening here, there's actually a hair on my mouse sensor. And I get it off in a little bit, but that just caused it to bug out super bad there. And over here, there's a Lion's Head / gold chest spawn. Actually, I don't know if it can spawn a gold chest here, but Lion's Head is there this time, and so I want to go over here and loot it. And really easy to kill these skeletons because you start off with a rapier, unlike Rogue, who starts off with daggers, and daggers are horrible. And you have access to a lot better weapons than a Rogue does, and you have access to good ranged weapons. You have access to a survival bow and crossbow. And Shriek of Weakness just does a lot of damage, and you can also kill enemies through walls with Piercing Shrill, which I like to use in Inferno if it's an enemy that is annoying to kite. However, it is really low damage per second when you use Piercing Shrill. Gonna buff myself up again. And then let's use Beats of Alacrity again, get some more speed, and I'm going to loot these skeleton bodies. And they haven't nerfed the loot, guys, so the chest loot is worse than what it was last patch, especially on maps like Ruins, regular crypts, regular goblin caves. It's a lot worse there now. High Roller, though? High Roller seems to barely be touched on that, so even more so than before, you guys should be playing High Roller and trying it out. And I find some gloves there, which is great, just a little bit more armor. And some Lightfoot boots, nice. And I think I should have actually put those on because I think those are a tier higher than what I have on. I wish the patch notes, what they had said was actually the thing. They had basically said something to the tune of that you'd be able to, like, see the color of the items without actually, like, hovering over them. But that is not what they were trying to get across. And keep in mind, the developers themselves are Korean, so sometimes translations can make things seem funky. And by the way, if you saw my mouse bugging out there again, that was me picking up my mouse and getting the hair off of it so that that doesn't happen again. And I find an arming sword there. And arming sword, I like better than rapiers. I just find them a little bit better. And falchion would definitely still be my go-to for bard. Someone in the comments was making a point on how I basically don't engage in PvP and how the falchion has an overkill problem. So if you get an enemy to the point with 3 hits, that they have 1 health left based off the amount of damage that you're doing, and the 4th hit would do, say, 45 damage, all that extra damage past that 1 health is just wasted damage. So if 4 hits of an arming sword is going to kill an elite skeleton, and 4 hits of a falchion is going to kill an elite skeleton, and I'm just throwing out numbers, by the way, they're probably not accurate. If those are both the same case, and an arming sword attacks faster, then the arming sword is the better weapon to go with. And they were trying to go ahead and put together some math for how the arming sword is better in high roller. I don't know if that math is accurate, but it very well could be, and if that's the case, then that would be good enough to make me run the arming sword over the falchion. And right there, that lever goes ahead and opens up this little room over here that has a lion's head chest. Do not go in here when skeletons are following you. You will die. They will block you in very badly. 3 physical power, reinforced gloves. And I get some nice gems and stuff there too to sell, which is great out of those lion's head chests. I really wish I could find some gold chests, but I'm just not getting any this game. Right down here, there's another lion's head chest spawn, but there is a wizard on it over there, a witch, whatever you would like to call them, a skeleton mage. And there's also spiders, and it's just really annoying to kill this one with the way it's positioned and with the spiders just constantly harassing you. So I was thinking, maybe piercing shrillet. Probably not the best idea. I didn't know it would aggro on me from that far away, even though I hit it. But it does. I don't know why I didn't know that, but vertically, they do the same thing. And so it starts fireballing me. If I had a crossbow here or a survival bow, I would shoot it from up top. That would definitely be the best method. But I am on base default gear. I land right on a spider and get force hit there, which is really annoying, but oh well. Health is there to be used. And I'm trying to drag the skeleton mage up against the wall appropriately so that it will hit itself with the fireball, and Shriek of Weakness does make them weaker in terms of magic resistance, so it should also help them kill themselves faster, and it should also help you do piercing shrill and kill them quicker that way. But when it keeps bubbling itself like this, it's going to take forever to kill. I honestly wish they would remove the skeleton mages bubbling themselves, because all it does is slow down how quickly you can kill them tremendously, which what that ends up doing is forcing you into the zone when you shouldn't be forced into the zone just based off RNG. And right here, my Rousing Rhythms has wore off, so I need to put that back up again. And I'm going to Unchained Harmony this chest. Too bad this one isn't a gold chest. It can be, but it isn't this time. And I actually get a crossbow out of it. And I end up dropping that arming sword I have because I just need to go quickly here. I'm in the zone. And careful of this fire trap right here. It works way faster than other fire traps. If you are not right up next to it when it goes down, don't try to cross. And you need to go quick when you're going through there. And I get stuck on a dark portion of the wall there. Just trying to get past and get back in the zone. And I lost a good half my health there. I could heal it back up by sitting down, but the thing is, I am outside of the zone. I should swap for an arming sword here, and I do so. And only takes 3 hits to the head here when I have Shriek of Weakness on them to kill them, which is great. Not worth casting it for just this one skeleton who's already right up next to me, so I just stab him. And we get an old cloth there, just another thing I can sell to the store. Old cloth can be used for crafting, by the way, so sometimes those as crafting materials can be quite valuable to sell to other traders. I don't think old cloths themselves, though, are worth all that much. And I see over there a whole bunch of potions just sitting out in the open. And this area, by the way, is really good to loot. Jump down the well in the middle here, and there's a whole bunch of big chests in a maze beneath here. Great area to go into. But I don't want to go down there because right now there's just a whole bunch of the zone moving in on it, and that's no good. I'm just thinking, hey, why don't I go ahead and get out because I saw this portal earlier, although I also saw this fence break on my right earlier, so I was kind of scared to go over here, but they seem gone. But I have Lore Mastery on, it opens really quick, and I get out. Honestly, I feel like Bard has an easier time ratting than Rogue does. Rogue probably does better on Ruins, but Bard and Crypts probably does better because his interact speed is higher on magical things, meaning you can get in portals quicker. And right now I'm just selling a bunch of stuff. Basically what I'm trying to do here is get some money together so that I can actually run High Roller. And I go ahead and exchange all the silver that I can, sell the lantern here, and I figured out that the 15 bolt order thing is actually broken. You can't use the 15 one anymore, so I have to use the 5 one, and I run High Roller. And I pretty much have the same items on as before. I put away some items. I actually grabbed 5 health pots from the last one, but I only brought in 3. But 3 is plenty. I generally would recommend you buy 3 health potions if you don't have them already. Now right here, I'm trying to avoid the wall spike on the wall. And I kind of thought the wall spike was closer, and you're going to see me get hit by the wall spike in just a moment. And I'm in such sheer disbelief of getting hit by the wall spike after that that I was thinking, what? Does this map have a difference in terms of spots where the wall spike can spawn? I don't think it does. I'm pretty certain I just get hit by the same wall spike 2 videos in a row, which is really sad. But yeah, you can see the wall spike on the left on the wall right there. I'm not really paying attention to it right now as I'm recording this. And I'm just shooting them with the crossbow bolts. That's probably the best way to avoid getting damaged. And I'm trying to jump over there, and I get myself stabbed. That's cool. But you know what, though? We're on Bard. I can heal myself up fairly easily. And I'm just going to stab this one. The problem with the dragonflies, you do one-shot them in the head quite easily, but it's really easy to hit them in their wings, which is like a quarter of the damage that you do on a headshot, so. And I go, okay, purple rondel dagger, I'll go ahead and pick that up. Daggers don't sell for anything. No one wants daggers, especially not rondel daggers. They don't sell for anything, and that one doesn't have good rolls, so I do end up dropping it later. I would not recommend that you pick them up for anything more than imagining to sell them to the shop afterwards immediately. The weaponsmith, which like can be worth it for those slots over like gray bangles or something. Also, the leather leggings I got earlier should allow me to play Song of Shadow with the +3 all song on, which is really nice. Song of Shadow can be useful versus PvE in terms of de-aggroing the boss in Inferno, and it can also be useful getting away from players. Now, right here, I'm doing a trick where I place a torch on the ground, and then you wait for the spikes to go down, and then you run on top of the spikes and jump over it afterwards. That's just because the wall there is mistextured a little bit, and it's really easy to hit yourself on the wall there. I'm kind of trying to drag this guy through, and then I plan to go around him to the right. That time there, I got hit because I was still attacking. And this time right here, it's because I was not moving around him to the side. I was in front of him. And I think I got headshot on the second hit there, which is not great. So I go ahead and put myself into healing mode here. And I go ahead and sit down for like a minute. And I'm just going to cut ahead for you guys so you guys don't have to wait and see how long that's going to take because that's boring. Once again, doing the torch trick here. You can jump over it from this side. I just oftentimes get hit there because the wall is rounded weirdly, and I know better. If something's hitting me oftentimes, then I will just use a different tactic. Beats of Alacrity, and of course we're going to Shriek of Weakness this guy because it makes it way quicker to kill him. And just stab that guy a couple times. Died pretty quick, and this guy is a crossbowman. I'm just going to try and hit him from across the room. I missed my first arrow there. I am not good with the crossbow. I have not played much with the crossbow, And I don't plan to get good with the crossbow because the crossbow is horrible now. Actually, what I'd recommend you do if you are doing this now is bring a survival bow. And I know survival bows are supposed to be bad, but when we're talking versus PvE anyways, bring a survival bow because they have really large magazines and you can just shoot a lot of arrows from them and you can carry in a lot of arrows in there. They also made it so that arrows stack higher now, the regular arrows, which makes arrows a lot more viable and was actually an indirect buff to survival bows, which is really nice. But yeah, I'd recommend survival bows just because if you need to kill an enemy from a cheese spot that has a ton of health, which we'll see later, the survival bow will do way more damage per second. That does not mean that a survival bow is better for PvP or anything like that. I highly doubt it, but for just high DPS PvE, you definitely want to go with a survival bow. Rugged boots with 1 knowledge, that's cool. Knowledge is very good on Bard. Now, the problem with Bard is now that they have removed all attributes from a bunch of gear pieces. It only spawns on necklaces now, from what I understand. Which means you can basically get no all attributes, and Bard was one of those characters that really benefited from every single stat, so all attributes is what you would get into. And now Bard, as far as the upper end for Bard goes, he's really terrible, and I've seen a lot of people fearful that Bard is going to be good again this patch. I doubt it. I'm fairly certain the meta comp we're going to see is Wizard, Cleric, Barbarian. The Wizard and the Cleric are going to mainly focus on buffing up the Barbarian. If the Wizard has a good double spell setup on, he will go ahead and assist with spells as much as he can. And if a Cleric has a lot of armor on, they might also frontline after going ahead and popping 1 shield on the Barbarian. But I think frontline Cleric is also really weak now, and you'd be better off staying in the back lines with magical healing items and just spamming heals on your Barbarian like your Barbarian is a Pokemon. And I'm picking up some bangles, some gem rings, all that sort of stuff over here. And the white ones really aren't worth picking up here. The green ones definitely are. Single slot items are worth way, way more than 4 slot items are or 2 slot items are at the same rarity. But when it's that low rarity, it's just really not worth picking up in High Roller, especially because I'm planning on going to Inferno this run. Now, I am still picking them up though, because I'm thinking, what if I need to leave? I'm not really worried about needing to leave though, because this lobby I'm playing in has 5 people. I get a lot of comments about how a lot of other players have a very different playing experience than I do, and I think a lot of that comes down to time of day you play. People are a lot friendlier if you are playing during the normal 9 to 5 hours that most people are at work. And if you are playing after like 7 p.m. when most people are off work and they can get on with their buddies, that's when all the buff balls come out and all of that. And I generally work second shift at my job. I can choose my own hours. And I generally work second shift, and I like playing during the day on this game, so that's usually what I end up doing, and then I end up going ahead and I find these lobbies with 5 people in them. And also, everyone else in the lobby was a rogue, so I'm not super scared, actually. Bard has better PvP potential than Rogue does, so I am not very afraid. You might also have been seeing some comments that Rogue has been completely gutted, and as far as his PvP potential goes, he is so weak now compared to other characters. And I saw some players in my comments going, hey, I'm still messing people up really bad with Rogue. What that means is you're a good player or you're playing against really bad players. You would definitely do better as another character in basically all PvP situations now. The nice thing with Rogue still, though, is does Rogue need to be good in PvP situations? Because Rogue is extremely good for ratting. Rogue is probably one of your best characters still for earning gold. And so I think we'll still see large amounts of Rogue players, and Rogue still might be one of the most played characters. I highly doubt his gear is going to go for much, though, because if you're trying to play Rogue for PvP, you're just going to get dumpstered almost every game. And I'm going to go through the little secret, quote-unquote, here to get into the next room and loot this chest. And it really seems in High Roller, the regular chests are a bit worse now than they used to be. They're still not bad, but they definitely seem a bit worse. And the higher end the chest gets, the less nerfed it seems. So Lion's Heads also seem nerfed a little bit. Gold chests don't seem nerfed at all. The big coffins, the royal coffins, seem like they actually dumpstered them too. Like, it seems like the same rolls as a regular chest, which is really weird, because last wipe they were giving us like 3 purple pendants each time, even with a regular lobby. And in High Roller, they'd give super good items. Opened up a portal there real quick in case I need to escape. I'm not super scared of the rogues or anything. Rogues are not very scary to me as a bard. And this room, I want to loot this big chest in the corner before I run through that Inferno portal I opened, but I do want to go Inferno here. And there's some Wanderer's attire I want to look at. It's pretty terrible rolls. But extra bolts, though, those are nice. And I enter the red portal. And here I am in High Roller Inferno solo, and I'm back in the gargoyle room. For whatever reason, this room, it spawns me in here like every single time I get the Ghost King map. I barely get any other spawn ever. I think it has something to do with me being a solo player. I think if you come in here in a group, you're going to get different spawns than I do. But with me being solo, and if you guys are playing solo, I think expect to get this spawn often. And so what I do is Shriek of Weakness, and then I cast Piercing Shrill for like a minute. I had dragged a demon bat from right above me just by walking out, and I shot one across the room where I want to go. So I was hitting them both at the same time with it, which really speeds this up. And I should have been using this tactic on my other bard runs the other day, but I just wasn't. This is a good little strategy to speed things up. And I go ahead into this next room. And I'm still just walking over, and this room is pretty clear now. This room spawns 3 demon bats, but the other one is on the opposite corner of me, and it hangs out there, and I'm not too worried about that because I want to go into this high loot room here with the centaur. And what I'm thinking as the centaur is coming over here is, man, I do not have enough bolts to actually kill this thing. And luckily, I get a survival bow out of the chest. Extremely lucky there. I could have hit it with Piercing Shrill to kill it after I ran out of bolts, but I'm going to go ahead and swap to the survival bow here in just a second and spam it in the head. These things have almost as much health as the regular Crypts bosses do. Keep that in mind. These things have a ton of health. And Shriek of Weakness really lowers their health because the way with physical damage reduction they have set it up to work is there's some math that goes into it, and if you go below 0 armor rating, you go heavily into the negative % of physical damage reduction, and most enemies don't have much armor to start off with, so if you bring them from 0 armor rating to heavy into the negative, then you mess them up really bad. And the reason why they did that is so that you couldn't run around as rogue without your armor on anymore and suffer no catastrophes from that. It gives you like minus 25% armor rating or something. But yeah, that also helps us with PvE here, and that's why you want to Shriek of Weakness spam pretty much everything. And also there you can see I played crappy music. You can play 1 skip note for every 2 golden notes you get. Now, if I hit the white part of the note instead, that's going to give me a crappy music play, and if I play 2 white notes instead, it won't even play the song at all. And that's just a skill issue, that's all it is. And you get a Fine Cuirass here with +8 armor rating. That is really good! It is a purple Fine Cuirass. The other stats in it are sadly bad, but that is a really good item. Sadly, we are early into the wipe, so these items aren't worth very much, and physical damage reduction setups aren't as good as they were before. That's pretty much as good as it's going to get, though, for any fighter looking for a physical damage reduction setup. So that's a great find. And right here, I open up this Wraith. This platform right here is your excellent cheese spot for this room. Basically, nothing can get you right here. You can even cheese the Centaur on this platform, but you do have to jump each of his attacks as well, which I don't like doing. I'd rather cheese him through the gate. And I aggroed the Demon Berserker on accident. Luckily for me, he is a regular one, so he'll go down quick. I actually wonder if I would have been better off here if he was a nightmare variant, because I think they count as mini bosses. So that means they have their loot rolls buffed from where they were a couple wipes ago. And I would really like some extra loot here. And I Shriek of Weakness him again and just slap him in the face, and he's down. Gotta kill the Wraith. Its loot is definitely buffed. And we have a Nightmare's Wayhander skeleton coming over here. Nightmare's Wayhander skeleton, very dangerous. They are not easy to dodge. You can duck under their first 2 attacks and then jump over their third, but Nightmare enemies have another special attack always. And with the Zweihander skeletons, theirs is they have an attack that scrapes along the ground with their sword, and they are just very dangerous. So I decide to shoot him there with my crossbow rather than give him a chance to attack and fall off the platform. By the way, the only way enemies get off the platform there is if they are attacking towards you. That allows them to fall off. So if you want to put an enemy into a pit, you have to bait out an attack as well. And also that's how an enemy could jump off a ledge to attack you like this. Just an elite skeleton behind the Wraith though, so I'm not too worried. And I'm just smacking the Wraith over and over. Still want to keep it in Shriek of Weakness. Now it's dead. Also want to hit this skeleton here. I'm not too worried about him though. And we go ahead and kill him. We definitely want to loot the Wraith and see what we get off of there. And we get a cloak. Nice. It's a really bad cloak, but it is a cloak. Nice. And we get 2 lion's head chests over here. That's pretty sad. They can both be gold chests, but you get unlucky sometimes. Gold chests are so much better loot than lion's head chests now. It's quite common to get a legendary out of them on High Roller Inferno, but I just don't get lucky enough to see one this game. Still though, lion's head chests have some pretty good loot in them, and I'm happy to take it. There's another portal on my right there, and I want to go ahead and cheese this chest here. This is how you open it, but I accidentally aggroed the demon dogs there. What I could do is jump back up on the platform over there and shoot them in the head. The demon dogs, if you hit them in the collar, the elite ones, that will hurt you really bad. They have like a thorns effect on them. But yeah, and by the way, these 2 guys right here that we're seeing at the end, also in the Inferno, they said hi to me before the game and said that they watched my videos. So if you guys are seeing this, hi, you're in the video. And we got a couple good items out of it too, which is really nice. So I made some money. Now, I'm not rich yet, but this is where I'm going to end the video because I think I've properly demonstrated how you would get rich off of runs like this. And I'd also recommend you take the good gear items you put on during the game off and sell them on the market after this, and then get yourself a new gear set that's all really basic. And so yeah, guys, if you guys liked this video, make certain to subscribe for more.